2020 committee meetings to order. I want to remind committee members and also members of our audience that when you make comments for each committee, make sure that you keep your comments to the items that are on the agenda, please. Okay? At this time, the chair will recognize Randy Bohr, Chairman of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we have any, I'd like to call the committee meeting to order and ask if we have any visitors that would like to address the committee.
Karen Harwood, 1501 Elwood. I just had just a few hours this afternoon to kind of go over what was posted on the Hamilton County website. Two of the things that are going to be addressed during the finance part, being one of, and if I mispronounce it, forgive me, Omnia Partners. It's stated on there that the membership is being voluntary and at no cost to the county. My question would be, and I would think on any of your part, at what point is there a cost to the county when this gets presented to you? That Mayor Brittain in his, that's online, is making a statement that two former co-ops that Hamilton County did business with recently combined to create Omni Partners. When I went to the Omnia Partners website, on their own website, they indicate that participation has almost tripled over the past 6 years. Well, that leads me to wonder what's considered recent versus 6 years. I would think that'd be some things that you guys ought to be researching, looking into, and asking questions. My other thing up and coming is that is Dr. Perry sending a letter that's actually also on your website, that he's going to be asking for an additional $12,000 for the extended school program. An indication for parents of children that are still working that that they have decided to reduce the cost per child per day from $19 to $10 a day for the month of August. And they're wanting, and then apparently, I mean, I can't imagine parents who are not still currently working because of the coronavirus would be using the extended school program. And why does that fall, or would want that to make up the loss of $9 per day per child, fall on Hamilton County taxpayers to foot that bill for parents who are still working? It doesn't make any sense. And the thing is, just last month at one of the meetings that was last minute added on, that Dr. Perry was here, wanting to look for more money for hotspots for online schooling. But in his letter for this month, he indicates, as he quotes, hopes to reopen schools in September. Well, last month, he didn't know if he'd be going to school or not, and they'd have to be doing online schooling and the economic hardship on parents who could not afford internet. Which is it? Are we going back to school or not? But we keep coming back and saying we want more money. And the thing is that is the entire reason that 14 people sitting before me right now have been elected to represent all of us to ask these questions, to do the research, and represent all of us out here. And I really would like for you guys to start doing that job. Ask some more questions, please. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else who would like to address the committee?
Lindenolly, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. I had initially hesitated to get up here about the Finance Committee, but I hope you are looking closely at the checks. I think, from what I saw, I believe Mr. Huntsman knows what I was talking about. How can you have a date on a check, a vendor's name, a check number, and then 0, 0, 0, multiple checks without your approval, brought to your approval with zeros? Now, maybe there's an explanation, and I would hope we would hear that explanation, but any explanation is going to seem very odd. Why would you ever have prepared checks and put a 0 amount? And some of these are dated July 13th or July 1st. How could we get to July 31st and still not have an amount on these checks? This is the Finance Committee. This is the committee that approves checks, typically rubber stamping them. I hope you don't rubber stamp this. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the committee? Seeing none in recurring business, on the expenditure reports, I would like to begin by just asking Mayor Brittain, could you give us an explanation of the checks?
I do not have an answer to that question. I'll let our finance director.
Would it be proper for us to put this off until we have an answer on that? Because there are several of them that have just zeros out to the end, and they're dated, and there's a check number along with them.
We can keep it on the agenda for the commission meeting, and you can take care of it.
What's the best way to get the information to everyone so that we can get it reviewed?
We'll get it to you by email, or I'll have Ann call each one of them.
How about for the public?
Okay. In new business, we have ESP program. And this is Dr. Perry, please.
Do you have the clicker? Mr. Chair, members of the commission, certainly appreciate the opportunity to speak to you here this evening. A couple of quick things. We hope to accomplish this evening, update on the reopening plan. I know that you may get some questions about that. Also an update on the West High School project, and we do have that request for funding for ESP. So as we go through this, first of all, as you may know, that we do have a new reopening plan. I spoke to you last time, and we had to relook at that plan. And the reason why we decided to close was that at that point in time, we had several staff members who had tested positive. We had about probably anywhere in the neighborhood of 10 to a dozen staff members that had tested positive. We were real concerned about that because we knew that not everybody, their test results were in by that point in time. And so it did create a number of safety concerns for us. And probably the most concern that we had with those 12 staff members out, then I had to put those kids somewhere else, and that would have increased the numbers within each one of those classrooms. So that would just increase the issues for us. The other big thing is we knew we would have to go online with a certain group of students. Not everybody is going to participate in class when we open up. We had ordered these computers way back in May or June. Just the whole supply line is having trouble getting in. So we're still scheduled to have those in August 27th, August 26th, somewhere around that time. That will give us enough time to get all those imaged, all of them ready to go and hand back out to students for the Labor Day. So that's why we chose that particular day. It also allowed us to provide a little bit extra training to both parents who would want to participate and then also for our staff members. The new school calendar, we won't go over this in total, but I will answer any questions you may have. We traditionally have 180 school days in the school calendar. This year we have 175. And we're going to use those additional 5 days to bring teachers back and train teachers with Google Classroom and online instruction. So that will be the platform that we will use. We need some time to work with our staff. A lot of school divisions across the state are using these 5 days to provide that extra training. Still gives us 8 bank days that we would have in the calendar. Staff's going to report back on September 2nd. Students will come back that day after Labor Day after the 8th. We've eliminated most of our early dismissal days to make sure that kids are in school as much as possible. We've also reduced some of the spring breaks and some of those kind of things and pushed some things together so that we would be able to be in school and not have to go up into June so often. And it's not that we really don't care about going into June. The problem we run into is state testing is normally over with May, so teachers have to get through the curriculum toward the end of May to make sure that students are ready for the testing. And then it's a little bit hard to get students focused and keep them going after we've had that state testing piece. So you can look at the calendar there and then see if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer those. But what we did try to do is we took out fall break and we just combined that with Thanksgiving so people would have 5 days if you're going to go visit family, something of that nature. And then we took spring break, moved it forward a couple of weeks and connected it with Good Friday, which we were out with already. That still gave people 5 days that they were out for the entire week, but we didn't have to have another day out of school because of Good Friday with that. So we will graduate on June the 4th, so students graduate that weekend, and then we'll come back Monday and finish up with the rest of the kids at half day. Key dates. I know that there are different things for different people. August 14th, we're going to make a decision about contact sports. That would be football and soccer, so we'll be making that decision. We'll talk to our school boards tomorrow, and then we'll make that decision there. August the 1st through the 21st, we've had a technology survey asking parents, do you have computers at home? Do you have internet at home? Wanting to make sure that we have access to everything that we need, that if we had to go online, we've got everybody's needs taken care of. August the 24th, we will announce the plan that we will go with. Right now, we're not sure if that's going to be all online or if it will be a combination. So we'll continue to monitor health conditions. Then we'll make that decision on August 24th. That will give parents 2 weeks to make some decisions, so we think that will be adequate. On September 3rd, we're going to have a technology practice day. So our teachers will actually connect with all the students in the district. And if you do have a computer, then we want you to get online, see if all of that works out, because it is going to be highly complicated what we're attempting to do. We're going to try to do synchronous class lessons, which means the teacher's going to be teaching and kids will be learning at the same time. And that'll be 10,500 students. And so there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. We just want to make sure that we have all that worked out prior to starting the school. Then September 2nd is the first day for students, or first day for staff, and then September the 8th will be our students' first day. Athletics, both the TSSAA made an announcement and the governor's executive order that basically said contact sports could begin if we wanted to. Now, a lot of us still have some concerns about contact sports. We have allowed students to go ahead and practice, but we've not allowed competitions yet. So that's one of the decisions that we're going to make this week and let our teams know if we are going to have competition. Now, if we do have competitions, it's going to look very different than what it's done in the past because we'll have to limit some folks in the stadium. We'll probably go to a quarter of the people in the stadium that it will hold. We will limit some other things. Concession stands we won't have, vendor booths we won't have, some of those kind of things. Basically, if we do this, we'll simply give kids an opportunity to come in and play, and then we'll get out pretty quickly. Also, the regional superintendents are meeting weekly. We did have conversations about this, and right now we've made the decision to go forward with practice and continue to look at data. There will be extreme limitations on the game, as I mentioned before, to keep people as safe as we possibly can. Make a decision by the end of this week. Extended school program, it does provide daycare for ages 4 through 12 or pre-K through 6. So any parent that's in our county They can come to our preschool program. They don't necessarily even have to be in our school. Just if they're in those ages, we will watch those particular students. We start at 7 o'clock in the morning. We'll end at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. That should be PM, not AM. The components of ESP, right now, we normally charge $19 a day. For the month of August, some parents were assuming that we would go back to school and that would eliminate the need for daycare. I did get a couple emails from parents saying that they're able to provide daycare in the summer, but they are a single mom working with 3 kids, and that if they've got to go beyond that summertime, it really hurts them. And what were we going to do with that? They were really dependent on that. And so for some folks, that extra $9 a day is important. Some of our parents who are working are not making a ton of money, and it's an issue for them. We are open Monday through Friday. We do provide a breakfast, lunch, and snack with that. We did open up 3 sites right now, Hillcrest, Alpha, and Russellville, and what we're trying to do is hit different parts of the county to give working parents better convenience in getting in. We really hope to keep these sites open even if we have to close school, because we can do some things a little bit different at ESP that we can't do in school, and that gives those parents an option to drop off kids if they have to work. Also, the benefits, it does enable a parent to work if they are out because they don't have daycare. And then the other part that it does is that we've heard this several times. If a parent is working, they would have to work their job from 8 to 4, 8 to 5, whatever that would be. Their kids would not have access to online instruction. So when they get home at 6 o'clock, then they got to sit down for the next 4 or 5 hours working with their kids with instruction. So their whole day from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10, 11 o'clock at night is going to be consumed with nothing but going to work and helping kids. If we can get the kids in ESP, then we will go ahead and provide that online instruction for them in there if we're out of school. And then that would enable them to go ahead and keep up with all their schoolwork. And then when they got home, parents would not have to go over to work again. West High School update. Foundations are poured, electrical plumbing in. This is actually a picture of the front office building, so you can see that we do have all the block up. They've got the metal joists on top. So we're going to be working on the roof deck this week. We're actually also putting up metal studs. So the front office, that's going well. We should have done the roof in the next couple of weeks. Cafeteria, the foundation's been poured, that west wall's been removed. We've reinforced the west wall. We actually with ramjacks, 12 different piers underneath that, and with pressurized concrete raised that up. The new HVAC systems have been set. We've got the new ductwork installed. The makeup air has been installed in the cafeteria. We'll pour the floor this week. There will actually be 2 different floors, and we'll start building walls next week as soon as we get the concrete set up to use the walls on that. Our biggest concern is that the epoxy can't go down on the floor until we get the moisture out of the concrete. That still looks like that would probably be the end of September, 1st of October, and we knew that. So it'd be a situation where we're going to have to satellite lunch for about a month, which means we have to prepare it someplace else and then bring it to West High School, but we're prepared to do that. The restroom, these are the new sinks that are put in. The old ones have been demolished, the blockwork's been completed, the floors have been poured. All the fixtures have been installed. Most of them should be operational. And then we're putting in the stalls next week. The electrical, we do have the main switch in, the main breaker box in, power supply, 3,000 amps. We've replaced almost all of the aluminum wire with copper so that we're better able to serve each one of the power supplies. We've put new breaker boxes throughout the building because a lot of those have been in since the conception of the building and needed replacing. And the cafeteria breakers will be in next week. Makeup air, we're about 80% done. Individual, we've got 50% of those ready to go. Still work on the roof for those units. We're about 80% done. We're waiting on some of that because the roof now, we've had to put additional lifts on that to get those units off the top of the roof. We've already got all the HVAC wire control pulled to the main boxes, so all we have to do is hook that up. The required work that we had to do, the sprinklers have been installed. We had to have a pressure pump to increase pressure to get the sprinklers to work. That's been installed, and the generator has been installed. So basically, in summary, the project is going well. We are on schedule. We're within budget. The cafeteria, the epoxy floor, as I mentioned before, is the only main concern that we've got. But again, we knew that, and we made a conscious decision that it would be quicker and better in the long run, be inconvenience for a month as opposed to waiting and doing some temporary flooring with that. The gym and auditorium restrooms, told you that we had rebid that out. We will rebid that, and we should have that back in October, November, so we'll have those prices at that particular point in time. So now the financial request, we do have the extended school program, and want everybody to understand that the extended school program is a self-sufficient program, so we don't pay any tax money into that. No money comes out of the operating budget for that. That is a service that we provide for parents just trying to help out the community, to help out our industries and local businesses with childcare, with people who are working, so there's no tax money involved in that. And it's, again, paid by parents who want to elect to use that particular service. We wanted to try to keep the fee low in August. We reduced that down to $10 a day to kind of help with that. And again, it's just to help working parents while school is closed. We do think that at some point in time throughout the school year, we're going to have to revert back to online. It seems like a lot of school districts that decided to go in person. They will have some positive cases, and we assume that there would be some in ours too. We'll have to go back online at some point in time for a period of time, and if that happens, then we'll have this available for parents so that they can go to work and that our local economy is not impacted negatively by our ability to go to work or to go to school. So last year we have told the board that we used quite a bit of our reserves to help fund that, to just get parents through. We provided free daycare for all essential workers. So if you were in hospital, law enforcement, something of that nature, we basically let you come free for a long period of time. And then we did try to help out different people last year just because we knew tough time on everybody, and we were just trying to help. So what we've done is I talked to Mayor Brittain, I talked to Mayor Chesney about would there be an opportunity to just kind of add in a little bit of money to help with this so that the ESP program didn't have to cover the cost of all of that for some of the stuff that we're doing to try to help out. So if the commission can do that, certainly we'd be appreciative of that. If not, we're still going to go ahead and provide this service to our community to help. So, Mr. Chair, well, here's some any questions that you may have, and we'll provide answers to those questions.
Dr. Perry, you said August the 24th before we know the situation of whether to return or not. Yet we bought computers last month to what, $12,000? Is that what it was last? How much did we authorize last month for additional purchases of computers and hotspots?
Now, we used the federal money for that, so all that came out of the federal money, and that was several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes. So you feel like everyone has got adequate coverage now with what was ordered?
No, sir. That we've got enough with what we have in school, plus the ones that we've ordered. We've got enough for at least every single family, and we've probably got enough for each child in high school and middle school. But those that have multiple students in there, they may have to share a computer. Now, we are trying to get more, because if we can get Chromebooks, the computers we're buying right now is about $600, Chromebooks about $200 or so. So, but the problem is we can't find a reliable vendor right now that could get them to us in the next several months. So, but we do have enough to send to everybody, to every family. We're conducting a technology survey right now. 92% of the people said they do have internet connectivity and they do have computers. But of course, those are the people that's completing an online survey. So we would think that that number would be fairly high because they are completing it online. But we also do have paper copies that we will provide parents, because that will get a little bit of information from those who don't have internet service.
And what about the services? Had the charge going from $19 a day down to $10 a day? Why was that? Did any of the services get dropped?
No, actually, we're actually providing additional services in terms of the sites. The reason why we dropped that down is that a lot of parents were depending on us to be in school in August to send their kid to school. When we made the decision, we kind of felt like we didn't abandon those parents, but certainly we were not there for them. And so with that, we were just trying to do something to kind of help parents. Because again, for some of us, maybe $9 a day is not a lot, but for some of the parents, it is a lot. And some of the parents that we talked to had a conversation with us about if we could do anything to help reduce that and just get them through the month, they would be appreciative. So we did that while we were out of school in the month of August. We made that commitment that we would provide that without dropping any services.
Will that cost go up? If you're in school, ESP is only after school hours.
Correct.
That cost.
Yeah, that will be, we have different fee structures for that depending on how many days a week.
Okay.
I can send that to you.
No, it's fine, but it is lower than.
Yeah,
So
it would be a little
19,
lower.
are you going back to 19? Well, it sounds like you anticipate starting school and very well can go back home and do everything online. It
We
sounds
do
like-
anticipate, we have plans in place for that contingency because the way that it works right now is that if you test positive and you were within 6 feet of somebody for more than 10 minutes, you gotta shut down that classroom, you gotta shut down that teacher. And so one particular child at the high school could shut down 4 different classrooms.
Obviously, you've got your hands full and trying to logistically get all this worked out. It's a mess.
Well, it is a challenge, but it's a mess for everybody. And the thing that we're trying to do is that we're trying not to be just one more burden on the backs of working parents who desperately need some help with childcare. So, and Scott Shaw did mention that if we do go to school, then parents, of course, wouldn't need this particular service because the kids would be in school. They might need it after school, but that price drops down pretty dramatically.
This 12,000 though is to shore up the monies for that program.
It is, because we're not making money on that right now. We're having to draw out of the reserves that they have got from that to finance this. And it's just a situation that if you've got less money coming in than putting out, then of course that causes a problem. And then the other problem is that while we've opened up these 3 sites, it's a little bit less efficient to run, but we felt it was necessary to go to 3 different sites because that way, if we have a contagion at one place, we still got 2 other places open. And so it just seemed to make sense that it would be a more effective way, not necessarily more efficient, but it would be more effective to have 3
On a
sites.
personal note, it was invaluable to me, a single parent at the time, to have ESP and allow me to work. So it was invaluable service that my daughter could go to beyond school hours. And, it's a great program.
Yeah, we think it is, and I want the commission to fully understand that this is something we just provide. It's not something that we benefit from, or it's not something, it's something that we're trying to help out our community because we know if our community industries and businesses are successful, it's all going to come back and help us. So they give so much to us, we're just trying to help give some stuff back. Yes, sir.
Dr. Curry, how many students are in this ESP program?
Right now, we have about 120 that's enrolled, have, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 90 that would come every single day.
And on this, your school, are you staffed? Is everybody still working?
In terms
Staff,
of ESP,
staff, the bus drivers?
no, sir, they're on a,
mechanics?
no, sir, those individuals normally, now, I'm on a 260-day contract, so I work all year long, but our teachers are on a 200-day contract, so they only work for the 180 days that we're in school, and then roughly 10 days throughout the school year when kids are not there. So bus drivers, I believe those guys are on a 181, 182-day contract. So a lot of those folks are not they're only on the school calendar.
Is there any funds in there that might be used to help you with this program? That they're not working, so.
Oh, whenever we do, what we will do, that if we have to close school, now if we have school, then those individuals are all gonna be working. So we wouldn't have that access or excess staff. But if we do close, then what we are gonna do is that we would take our teacher assistants, we could take our cafeteria folks, we could take some individuals that we're paying, we'd bring those people in, but again, we're gonna increase numbers, because we would have those particular individuals probably coming in. Because the other part that, if we'd had more time, I would have mentioned it, we just don't think that we can teach kindergarten, first grade, second grade, preschool kids online. That's going to be extremely challenging to do that. So we're going to try to convince parents, if at all possible, send those primary kids to school, and then we're going to use those people that you talked about to spread those particular kids out, so that we got a teacher working with 10 kids, and we keep those 10 kids in a group. So if one of them were to become infected, then the whole kindergarten doesn't have to go home. It's just part of those 10 kids. But we'll use various people, custodians, cafeteria workers, teacher assistants, different people to kind of help watch those students in other areas while the teacher's providing instruction, and then they'll rotate through there.
You know, 120 kids isn't many. That's not very many kids that their parents are working. You know.
It's only important if you're one of those 120, but, and so I do agree with you, but
That's community service you're doing, what this is about.
I do anticipate that number will probably increase as we go back to school, but, because I think some parents may have made some.
Who's gonna pay for that service? You've been paying for it.
No, the parents will actually pay the amount, and that would be a self-sufficient program.
So they'll be in there for $10 now.
$10 is for the month of August. That we might have to increase that as we get past the month of August.
Is that 5 days a week?
Yes, sir.
That's 8 hours a day?
Well, some parents are in, or some kids are in there more than 8 hours a day, because we open up at 7 and we close at 6. And we do have some students that's actually with us almost that entire time.
Pretty inexpensive babysitter.
I think it's a really good deal that if you get breakfast, lunch, and a snack, and then you get child care for $10, it's a good deal.
But if you're in session, they'll be in the classroom,
They will be,
except for the few hours in the morning and a few hours in the afternoon.
correct.
Dr. Perry, are there any other sources for that funding? Do we have any grants that we're going to get on COVID that could be applied to that?
We do have that possibility. I'm not sure how the new federal legislation, there's a HEALS Act, HEALS. The first one was CARES, this one's going to be HEALS. We don't know any of the details of that yet, so there may be some in there, but we use the vast majority of our money for the technology and the staff development. And we did set aside some of the money to reimburse the ESP program for the money that they gave out last year. So there is some of that we did. And there may be other money in this next program that we need. And the $12,000 is not going to subsidize this program. I mean, we're not talking about that this is going to keep this particular program afloat. It would just be that if we had any of that excess money from some of the federal money or any other money that was undesignated, this would simply help the community and would potentially help some parents who are working. So it's not going to be, you know, the thing that keeps ESP open. It's just a little bit to kind of help with some of the things that we're currently trying to do to help parents for this 1 month.
Have any other questions? All in favor, let it be known. No, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion, do we have a second? Mike Minnick, second. Do we have any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, like sign? Mike Nick? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.